And we're live, or at least we should be. Check and make sure. Oh, I even beat the clock. Look at that. Just got to make sure everything is coming through. MG is in the chat already. That's awesome. And I'm just going to get my guitar. What's up? What's up? All right, we got some folks here. Good evening, Harry. What's going on? Yeah, let me just get the guitar. I'm on wireless. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to say in advance that this hotel room is not particularly well equipped for this purpose. I actually paid for the high-speed internet, and then I ran a speed test on it, and came back at like 9 megabytes per second, which is like slower than dial-up, I think. And then I had to unplug the fridge because it was making a lot of noise, and it's really cold here in Tulsa, so you'll hear the air come on and off and stuff like that. So there's a lot going on. Let's just say there's a lot going on, but I think we're going to be fine. What's up? We got some people checking in. We got 24 people. Check the guitar. What's up? Who's here? Paul, what's going on, man? Alexander, how's the tour going? So, yeah, the back of this guitar is nice. If we haven't talked about it before, this is what I call the Viv. This is a Gibson Standard 50s, probably like a 2020, 2021. And I just had it, I had the top scraped and painted by Anthony Marcatelli. And it's like a flat black, meant to look like Vivian Campbell's converted Les Paul Deluxe from the Holy Diver era. And it's got Pariah pickups in it. That's what you're hearing. And it is running right now through S-Gear. And some folks that comment, S-Gear is kind of hot right now as a plug-in. It's a piece of software that makes your guitar sound like it's coming through an amplifier. And Dan Huff used it for a recent thing with Vertex. And I've been using it for like 10 years now. And it's still great. Still one of the best out there. And I'm probably going to take this preset and put it in a Dropbox and put a link out there for anybody that's interested in that. If you're interested in Pariah pickups, you should just reach out to Sean at Pariah and tell him you want those pickups that you made for Angus. And what audio interface am I using? I'm using an Evo 4, which is, I don't want to risk moving it to show it to you, but it's by Audient. It's an EVO 4. It's just super tiny. I have the guitar plugged into one input, and I have the output of this Rode mic thing plugged into the other input. And I have the X5 wireless monitor thing plugged into the headphone output. And that's how I'm setting up this little rig. So, Tony asks if I'm still with TrueFire. I mean, I may make some more videos for TrueFire, but I'm just been having fun making the videos at home. I put out my first course right before I left for tour. It's called 30 Surefire Rock Licks, and I'm going to be doing some more stuff. I'm going to do some very fundamental stuff, like my warm-ups, and like also some just real basic stuff, because I think that there are people that are coming to the channel from kind of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra exposure and stuff like that, and they maybe just want to start learning guitar, but then I also want to do some more advanced stuff and stuff that's stylistically appropriate to what I do. And I'll be doing that on AngusClarkGTR.com, which is my site. I love TrueFire. I love everything that I did for TrueFire. I stand by those courses 100%. And, you know, that that production style is, you know, it's really sweet for us because, like, they provide the guys that do the tablature, you know, it's like a 3-camera robotic shoot and like all this other stuff. But at the same time, you just have the pluses and minuses of, you know, like how the business end of that works with, you know, who I'm splitting the money with and that kind of stuff. They've actually done a great job repurposing a lot of my lessons into a broader rock learning path where it's pretty much just like me, Chris Bono, Jeff McErlane, and Jeff Sheets, who's kind of like a, you know, one of the main guys over at TrueFire. It's pretty much all of our rock lessons. They've just been kind of sliced and diced out of the courses that we made and put into this broader learning path, which I think is really great for the students because they get to see our different learning styles, but, you know, it keeps them on a rock path. But in terms of me, just, you know, if you gravitate towards what I do and how I do it, well, I think what I'm going to be uploading on AngusClarkGTR.com is probably going to be up your alley, shall we say. And, oh, Jeff says he can hear my dry signal too. That may just be the plinkiness of the, oh, you're right. There you go. Let's see if this is better. Is that better? I think that's better. I downloaded I use Ecamm Live for the streaming, and I downloaded an update and it lost my settings. So I had the dry signal muted, and now I have it muted again. So Jeff McErlane, please let me know if that fixed it. For those of you that don't know Jeff McErlane, he is one of my oldest and best friends, and he's an amazing guitar player and educator. Also has plenty of courses on TrueFire, but also has jmguitarlessons.com, where you should go to check out his courses and check out his channel. And I learned everything I know about streaming from Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. And hopefully that fixed the issue with my dry signal. And it's Dan. Hey, Dan Keating. Dan Keating, what's up, man? It was great to meet you in person. I'm going to make a video lesson about this project. This gentleman named Dan Keating, songwriter, guitar player, who had one of his songs produced, I think, by Suno or one of those AI programs. It had a sick guitar solo in it, and he asked me to learn it and transcribe it. So I'm going to do a video. It's kind of like man versus machine thing. The licks were learnable, but some of them were just a little bit like not the most ergonomically cool choices for a guitar player, so it was really cool. But hey, Dan, good to hear from you. And it's a hilarious song too, called It Mega Hurts. It Mega Hurts. It's awesome. What's up? HOD 8931 had Pariah Warfare in an Explorer. He sold the guitar and gave the pickup to your brother. And so the pickup sounds great in another guitar, I'm assuming. Yeah, I have these same pickups in the Explorer I'm using on stage with TSO for this tour. Challenge for me, what's my favorite Sabbath Dio era song and my favorite Dio solo era song? And immediately play 10 seconds of each. Oh my goodness. Well, see, I've already brought that up in these live streams. Like anything that's managed by Warner will immediately get you dinged. So I can't play a recognizable portion of Voodoo, which would be my #1 Dio era. And then what's my number one Sabbath era? And then of my #1 Dio riffs, I mean, there are too many to count. Holy Diver, the solo in Holy Diver, come on. That's immediate, but I'm not going to play them right now. Okay, and what do we got here? Oh yeah, and Dan, Jeff Scott Soto, awesome, right? It's so cool. I get to tour with Jeff Scott Soto. I keep telling him, like, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just subbing for Yngwie when Jeff's singing. I'm not sure how that goes down. I mean, not sure what he thinks of that, but that's how I see it. I mean, I saw myself as subbing for Yngwie and subbing for Richie when I played with Joe Lynn Turner, but I didn't tell Joe that. Jeff says, all good. Cindy, hi from USC alumni family. Grandfather graduated in 1925. We'll see you on Wednesday. All right, we will see you there. Awesome. Fight on. Go Trojans. Chuck is digging the live streams. I appreciate that. How are it? It is not the in-ear mix. So Robbie Jelsey is asking about the in-ear mix that we use on tour, and we've had only like three or four monitor engineers in the last like 10 years. So we have repeat business over there. So it's usually guys that know who we are and what we like. And then the board is saved, the settings are saved from year to year. So very often I'm starting like the tour with what I had last year, and there will be things that have changed. Between Al and I, we sometimes make some changes, and there'll be some level differentials, and then there'll be some things that I need. Turn this up here because I'm listening to the keyboards for a cue or something like that. And then if I don't get it all dialed in for the first show, we get it dialed in within the first week, and then we're off and running. It's like there are certain parts of the show that like where the intermix is super enjoyable, and there are certain parts of the show where the intermix is like, I just need this and this and that so that I can get through running around the arena. Like I run clear to the back of the arena at the end of the show while we're playing like Wish List, which is like kind of like got all this syncopated stuff. Like all that stuff, and yeah, it can be pretty, like I just need the click and blahs, a lot of blahs. I played a blahs for the most part. It's like it keeps me. He's got such a great pocket, so it's like more fun, of course, to listen to your drummer than to listen to a click. So like, and then it also just is like it's that human element. Like when I have to go do the like Christmas Canon rock solo, which is the tapping thing, and it's like double time against the tempo. It's like the song is going by. Right, and then the tapping is double time. Don't hold me to this. Exactly. Like I'm doing all that, and like you don't want to rush it. The tendency would be to rush that, and so like I just listen to the boom, crack. I'm just listening to blahs, and that keeps me relaxed. And then I just like sink into the pocket and like get through all that double time stuff, and then before you know it, we're clear into the melody. But that's like a really fragile thing for like the person in my position, for me, in that part, because it's like dead center, and you want to nail it, because like it's the tapping solo. So that's how it's not that hard to dial in the in-ear mix anymore because it's saved from year to year. But I do performing arts centers. Like if you want to come catch me with like Ultimate Queen Celebration or one of these Queen tributes that I play with, it's like, it's like you're dialing in the in-ear mix with the house sound guy at a performing arts center somewhere in a secondary market, and that can be really challenging. So if that's the position you find yourself in, I'm in that same position all the time, and I totally relate. Some people like to, you know, they have all these automated boards, digital boards, where you can put the mixer on your phone. And I'm like, so now is the monitor guy going to give me a piece of his check because I'm doing his job? I'm kidding, but you get what I'm saying? Like, I didn't show up to run my own monitor mix. Like, it's somebody else's job. They should be proud of how they do it. Lone Star Aerials, how hot is it on the TSO stage? Well, it depends on if the pyro is going off, doesn't it? Right? Some of the venues are really cold, like they're hockey arenas and stuff like that, and so it can be really cold in there. And then, or like you're on ice. So when I go down in the bunker by my tech, it's like your feet are getting cold, you know, because you're on ice. But then when you go up on stage, suddenly they turn the pyro on and it gets really hot. I used to bring out my Gibson USA 61 SG, which is a, you know, it's not made in 61, it's a 61 reissue. I used to bring that out, and it's got like a 60s neck, slim neck, and then, you know, it joins the guitar. It's an SG, it joins the guitar at like the 20th fret or something like that. So it's like, and we had cryojets, which is where they put, it's like cold. So you had pyro, and then you had these cryojet, you know, it looks like steam, but it's like what they call a cryojet, and it's cold. And when it comes down on you, it's like, you know, you feel like you're in one of those movies where, like, you know, somebody gets turned to ice or something like that. That guitar would just, and I'd be like trying to play Carmina Burana, and it would just be like, you know, a quarter step sharp suddenly. It was not a, but we don't use the cryo anymore, so good for that. Hasn't been a problem. And that guitar is at home. I should bring it back out. But the Iommi SG that I'm using now has a thicker neck, so that's good. And I like the way the P90s in the Iommi SG sound for that, you know, for that stuff. But I still love that Gibson USA SG. That was the first Gibson I ever got. I got it I bought it directly from Gibson in the office they had in the city from Jimmy Archie, who's now, you know, now at 30th Street. So everything comes full circle. Shout out to Jimmy Archie. Jeff McErlane, if you see Jimmy Archie at 30th Street, tell him I gave him a shout out on the live stream. Okay. I read, Tony, read that I'm on the West Tour while Joe's on the East Tour. How's it decided who goes on what tour? So it's basically just when you were hired to do one or the other. I got hired to be the stage right guitar player in the West Coast band. At the time I got hired in 2001, they had 1998 they did one tour. 99 they did the East and West tours. The West Coast band that year had George Cintron and a guy named Damon Lescott as the guitar players. And so that was the 2000 tour. Johnny Lee Middleton was the musical director. And then in 2001, they basically recast almost the entire West Coast band. And that's when they put the calls out. And I got the call on a referral from Marty Friedman. I've told that story numerous times. And it wasn't, Al was still in Megadeth, so it was not like, they were just like, here, learn all this stuff. And so I learned all the lead parts. I learned all of Al's parts for, you know, the Mozart Figaro and 1224 and everything. And then we show up first day of rehearsal and like, there's Al. So but it's just been me and him in the West Coast band ever since 2001. And the East Coast band, right, it was Skolnick, Alex Skolnick, at the time I got hired to do the West Coast band. And it was him, and then he took 1 year off, I believe, and Tristan Avakian came in and did that tour. Then Alex came back, and then I'm not sure how it all worked. I think Alex had booked a tour with Rodrigo y Gabriela, something like that, and you know, was looking for And so they had to recast it or, find somebody else. Joel and I was subbing for Joel at Rock of Ages during that time. So, I was kind of like, dude, you should totally get the TSO gig. And I'm glad it worked out. I mean, he would have got it, whether I talked to him or the TSO or not, because he's the guy for that. But that's how that worked out. But it's a very New York-centric organization. The management's in New York. And so it's a lifelong New Yorker myself, although I live in Jersey now, and I couldn't be happier. Shout out to New Jersey. Okay, sorry, more questions. How many stages for the two bands? Yeah, we just have, well, I mean, there's two stages there's one stage, but there's the main stage and there's the remote stage. But we only have one rig for each production. So the East Coast tour has their whole thing, and West Coast has our whole thing. But yeah, they have to pack the whole thing up every night and get it to the next market by 7 a.m. So for us, it's a challenge due to the drive times in the Western United States. It's like there's some of these markets, it's really hard for them to get in on time, but our crew is amazing, just completely amazing. So, and Alex, is this the first time that Al's gone to the back of the arena? I think so, but we're having a lot of fun with it, man. I think you definitely stick around till the end of the show. That's all I can say. That's the best thing. Do I use the middle position for the tapping solo Christmas Canon Rock? No, I use the bridge position. I'll be on bridge for the tapping. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I get to the end of the tapping, and I don't end it like it is on the record, but I get up to this high note. And right there, I'll go to the neck. Sorry. And then I'll go back to the bridge for... I usually go to the middle right there. And so I'm tapping, and then when I get up to the high bends, I go to the neck, and then coming out of that to that last 2 arpeggio thing where you go up a D. And then an E. Sorry, I'm on the bridge for that. It's just like the definition of the bridge pickup on all that fast stuff. So the tapping's on the bridge pickup, then the high melodic line is on the neck pickup, then the last 2 arpeggios are on the bridge pickup, and then once I start the melody again, I usually go back to the middle, and then at the very end, when I go... I get to the neck pickup at the very end, and then so that I can fade it out. Because if you're in the middle, you can't really fade a note out. It just dies. Right? It doesn't actually fade out. But if you, there's a gate on this right now, but I have the gate set very lightly on the TSO preset, so it's like you can just more effectively roll your volume out, and it feels like the note fades out. I hope that answered your question. But it's a good question, because that's like choreography, the whole, and I'm doing it on a V, so the pickup selector is not here. I brought this guitar out, like when I first got it, I brought it out and I played Christmas Canon Rock on it. And I had the same experience I had when I first went in for Joel on Rock of Ages, which is that like it's really annoying to tap on a Les Paul because you keep hitting the switch. Like the beginning of Rock of Ages is the thing from Just Like Paradise, which I don't know if I should play it. That whole Steve Vai thing, and then it goes into this tapped thing with the open strings. And that is completely, and that's the way the subs would play what Joel was playing, which what Joel was playing was, he was using at least 2 fingers on his right hand the whole time. And so, but when I went in, I was trained on it by Tommy Kessler, who was already subbing for Joel. And he was like, you don't have to do the multi-finger thing on your right hand. You can just do what I just showed you right there. And I remember going in and it was a white Les Paul. And I went down and I went in and I was like, oh my God, this is so, how did Randy Rhoads do it? How did anybody do that? So I used this guitar just a couple of times for all that stuff. And then I was like, no, the V is better for me for the tapping. But then when you get to that little bit at the end, I'm talking about this way too much. When you get to the end where I have to do that, it's like, it's all muscle, because people first play a flying V, it's like they're like, why is the switch all the way over there? But once you've been doing it for a while, and if you're wearing it low like I am, it's like, it's just there, I don't know, and then I get, becomes muscle memory. So like that's the thing. If you watch close-up footage of me doing Christmas Can of Rock, you'll see bridge for the tapping, neck for the high melodic line. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, bridge for the last 2 arpeggios, and then once I start the melody, I go to the middle position, and then I go to the neck for the last note, because I'm detail oriented, and I'm going to do the best I can for our audience. All right, what do we got here? Okay, we're going to get into that. MG. Hold on a second. All right, so Alexander, we got you a 10-minute answer to a short question. I'm sorry about that, everybody. Can you hear the drones buzzing? The drones do make a certain amount of noise, but we changed the arrangement of the song. It used to be super dynamic, that it came way down to in the second verse, and we changed it to just a slightly higher dynamic in order to compete with the drones, but it's totally worth it. They're amazing. If you folks haven't seen the show, we're using drones, and it's beautiful. It's really amazing. Yeah, Julie was seeing Kansas City. What's up, Shelby? Brandon, how much time do I spend practicing before each tour? Someone just asked me this on Facebook. It's like, we get the learn list about a month from when we leave, and we leave at the end of October. So it's like a month where I get to practice it by myself, and then it's 2 weeks in the rehearsal room. And it's a mix of being in the rehearsal room on stage. So we'll get to Omaha, and I'll be in the rehearsal room for like 3 days, and then we start getting phased in on stage and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun, because both bands are there together, and we're all, along with our backup guys, who are awesome. Just it's like a whole band worth of awesome players with Jordan Ziff and Aurelian, and so it's a lot of shredders in one building at one time. It's pretty awesome. So that's how that all works. We're like a bowling ball. Yeah, maybe it is. It's flat. It's like it hasn't been. Anthony told me it's like the key to doing a flat finish, and that's what Viv has on his. And it's the key is to like just spray it, and then you have to spray it super, super clean, because you don't get to buff it up to a shine. Fran, that was me. That was you and Mesh asking the tour. At a private event, Vin, Mike, is your is your brother Vin Landolfi? Because he's a shredder. And I did a private with him, but it was more like 2 or 3 years ago, I believe. Horns up for the P90s. Okay, yeah, so I don't know what I was asked about playing. I'll play a Dio lick anytime. Who wants to talk about Dio? I was mentioning last week that, you know, people like the content I do when I'm at home with my dog Maggie, where she's ignoring me while I'm playing Dio licks and talking about Dio, and I said that it's just like, you know, talking to anyone, because no one's as interested in Dio as I am, but I am willing to bet money that there are some people who are as interested in Dio as I am, because I am going to be playing my first 2 gigs with my Dio tribute, Dio Rules, in February of next year. First one in Annapolis, Maryland, and the second one in Lidditz, Pennsylvania, at Mickey's Black Box. And if you're anywhere near there, or you feel like traveling there in the cold in the February winter, you please should, because it's going to be awesome, because the singer is Andrew Freeman, and he crushes it, and Matt Starr on drums is going to crush it, and I got Mark Klett playing keys and second guitar, and the amazing Winston Roy on bass. Yeah, if we're going to do all those tunes. And there we go. We got somebody, Metalhead Bill. Looking forward to seeing us guys playing. You know it. You know it. We're going to play some Rainbow tunes. We're going to play some Sabbath era, some Dio era Sabbath, and some Dio, and it's going to be awesome. And, you know, I mean, if you want to talk about it, I just think that Ronnie James Dio is, you know, was personally influential to me. Like during my burn-in, during my 13 to 15-year-old self, like it was just Rainbow on stage, the first 3 Rainbow, Rainbow Rising, Long Live Rock and Roll, but really Rainbow on Stage was like the Bible for me. And then my first Black Sabbath concert was the Mob Rules tour. I saw the Mob Rules tour, I saw the Holy Diver tour, I saw Last in Line. And I mean, he was just the guy. I actually remember seeing and when I saw the Mob Rules tour, from wherever my seats were, you know, it was like, it wasn't on the floor. I was kind of like on the side, up, you know, halfway back kind of a thing. Just the way he walked, the way he, you know, he had this kind of, he just had this signature walk, and just like the way he walked across the stage, I was like, this dude just means business. From the minute he walked out, you were like, that guy knows that we're here to see him. And I don't know, it's just those things, like they rub off on you in just kind of a way, like there was just such a presence to what he did. And people, now please don't ignore me like my dog does right now, because I'm talking about Dio, and this is important stuff. People would criticize his lyrics like, oh, it's Dungeons and Dragons, it's fantasy or whatever. And I've just, there's the way that he delivers those things that, you know, he sang every word with a passion of meaning, of like that he meant it in a way that I don't hear a lot of other singers bring to even things that are, you know, somebody can write a lyric that's a straightforward love song and sing it like they don't mean it. And it has half the emotional impact of Dio singing about a rainbow in the dark. You know what I mean? Like, he brought it to you in a way where you're like, it just made you feel something. And that's art. That's artistry. That's what made it great. And as a singer, you know, you could say that in a, you know, in the bluesy hard rock world, you know, Robert Plant would be the most influential singer of that era. But in terms of the, you know, hard rock that led to metal, power metal, and all this other stuff, Ronnie James Dio, most influential hard rock singer ever. And no discredit to Ozzy. Ozzy's a genius. And I think we all learned from watching the Back to the Beginning concert that almost no one can do justice to Ozzy. Like, right? Nobody thought of him as a virtuosic singer, at least he's not talked about as a virtuosic singer, but just in terms of where he placed his melodies and that stuff, which has been pointed out to me by Mike Squires, who, Couch Riffs, if you folks haven't checked out Couch Riffs, he does great interviews, Mike. He had me on. Thank you very much, Mike. Mike pointed out that Ozzy's melodies were very John Lennon inspired, which Paul was always my favorite Beatle, but now I gotta go look back at the Ozzy John Lennon thing. But I'm off on a different topic. I'm just saying that Ozzy was like so his own thing that he was not like influential on others the way Dio was. Like Dio, the people who, taken what the groundwork of what Dio did and have done something with it. He's just the most influential. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. Hopefully you guys haven't fallen asleep while I'm talking about Ronnie James Dio. There we go. Yeah, Vin Landolfi. Man, Vin Landolfi, shout out to, if you folks don't follow Vin on Instagram, this guy is just one of the most badass guitar players, and he plays with like every pop star that does every late night or early morning TV show, and then he goes out on tour all over the world. And if I had had that many gigs when I was that age, I would have just been happier than a clam. Oh my God. But he's great. We did that gig together. He was a pleasure to work with and a great guy. Am I using vinyl collector? We are using Axe-Fx. I'm using an Axe-Fx. I think Joel is using an Axe-Fx. I think Chris Caffrey is using an older Digitech piece that he just gets his sound from, which his sound is great. And then Al is using an octopus-like rig of like 3 different amps. And he's actually going to switch it up and add in one of the new Kasha Rockmod preamps, which John Kasha, the inventor and builder of the Rockmod preamp, was just there at our gig, which I met him. I met him and Michael Nielsen. Shout out to Michael Nielsen. That was awesome, getting to meet Michael. What a great guy, what a great guitar player, composer, and wonderful human being. And he came down to the TSO show, and it was really neat to meet these, all these folks. We started doing videos and stuff during and since the pandemic, and all this kind of guitar nerddom has come together, and I think it's great. What do we got here? Okay. We are coming to Wisconsin. Z Miller talks about Al's choreography of pickup selector, and is like a whole other thing, right? Because he does the off switch thing. He puts the neck pickup here off, and then he's on. He's like when he wants to play a rhythm part, he's like, he'll like, I don't think he does this, but if it was like Wizards in Winter, like, you know what I mean? When he wants it off, he wants it off. But then when he's gonna use the neck pickup, like in O Come Holy Night, he'll roll it back up and do, you know what I mean? It's a whole thing with the Les Paul and the Explorer and everything, yeah. And that's how you can tell he's like a true that he grew up on a Les Paul, which he did. I grew up on a Strat, so I'm all about like, give me the guitar like this, and I'm all volume up and go, volume down, volume up. To me, that's the on-off switch, which was funny when Chad Zamish was my tech. He's James Hetfield's tech. And I tell this story all the time. Anyway, whenever he gave me a guitar, whenever he gave me a Gibson-style guitar, he would give it to me with the neck pickup rolled all the way off and the pickup selector here. With the idea being that you get the guitar and, it's just an on switch and you never use the neck pickup. And, that was hard. I would always get it from him, and I would turn the bridge off, put the pickup down, because I'm really going to tell James Hetfield's tech to not hand me the guitar the way James Hetfield gets the guitar, I was honored, you know. So I just kind of did that. Sorry, Chad, I should have told you, but anyway, shout out to Chad and the whole Metallica gang. Amazing. My experience working with Chad was awesome. So what do we got here? We're using Axe Effects. Metalhead Bill, yeah. Ronnie was notoriously one of the nicest guys with fans. Jeff played with your Rainbow Eyes. That's a great song. And what do we got here? Yep, Holy Diver is one of the best guitar solos in hard rock. Yeah. My insight into different bands and artists is entertaining, and as you entertain, yeah, I know, because you're watching a nerd like talk himself in circles. I know. No, I'm kidding. Oh, you're going in Raleigh. Cool. Have a good time. What's up, Michael Nielsen? I think I was just talking about you, and I was saying nice things. MG is asking about the JTG. So, James Tyler Guitars. I want to give a huge shout out to James Tyler Guitars. If you're not familiar with James Tyler Guitars, he's a builder, legendary LA builder. And I went to SC where one of my main teachers at SC was Richard Smith. And Richard Smith is a smooth jazz artist in his own right. Amazing player and educator, and still teaching at USC and doing a bunch of other really cool things. And he always played a James Tyler guitar. And it's like kind of one of the earliest boutique super strats. It was James Tyler, Tom Anderson, and then you had Pensa Sir in New York, and then eventually Sir moved to LA. But in the 80s, it was James Tyler was what it was all about. And my buddy Gil Vasquez, who was at Tone Pros previously, he was working with another company as a master builder, and now he's, I think, production manager or shop manager for James Tyler Guitars. James Tyler Guitars was, James Tyler himself passed away, and Rich Rankin I don't know how it all worked, but I know that there's a new owner, and he facilitated them having some production done in China from one of the kind of really high-end, legit factories in China. Which is some really good ones because they've been building guitars for a long time. And so they put out this line called JTG, which are the import models. And Gil had sent me one of the Super Strats, which is what they're most known for. It has a preamp in it. And I've done some covers using that guitar. It's in a very 80s, like called the Jim Burst. It's a very 80s like color palette, and it wouldn't be a good fit for the TSO stage. When I was on tour, I saw that they had this single cut kind of Telly meets a Les Paul kind of guitar called the M1. And he brought one down for me when we were in Anaheim, and I used it on Promises to Keep. And it's a really cool guitar, and it'll probably be appearing in the show off and on for the rest of the run. But that was just so nice of them. And again, it's James Tyler was obviously a genius master builder. And the fact that Rich and Gil and the team there have found a way to keep making guitars that standard, that level of quality and tone is really great. And so I recommend everybody to check them out, because if you dig super strats and that kind of thing, it is a way to go. A star that came to the show that left me starstruck. Well, we just saw Michael Anthony from Van Halen for the second time, and I was still starstruck meeting anyone that was in Van Halen. It's just awesome. Super down to earth guy, super just awesome dude. Have I ever tried to do I've tried to do everything, but I'm not gonna do that. Let's see. am I going to? I'm going to do another video with the updated TSO presets. I don't think I'm quite done updating them though, so give me it might be when I'm done with the tour. So sorry about that, Harry. What else? What amp rig is Al using? Man, I don't think I'm at liberty to give you all the details on Al's rig. But let's just say that it is. His sound is awesome, and he put a lot of effort into it. He did use an Axe Effects for some of the Sabotage stuff, which I helped with the programming of. So that was fun kind of project because it wasn't like his first choice. It was a necessity to do it. So trying to make him comfortable I saw that as like a personal mission, make you comfortable on Axe Effects. And I think it worked for that purpose. But he's back to his rig, which is a combination of 3 different amps. And as I said, probably he's looking at putting that Kasha Rock mod back in there because he really loved it when he had it with Alice Cooper, and I think you think he played through it in Anaheim and was like, yeah, that's the tone, bro. So look for that. What do we got? Hey, Michael Nielsen, I have a question. What's my on-the-road fitness routine? Dude, at my age, yeah. So at home and on the road, I'm an avid Peloton rider. Although I'm also an avid follower of Kendall Toole, who used to be like the top Peloton rider, and she's got her own fitness thing now called the NKO Club, which I might have to sign up for. But but that being said, Peloton, I have a Peloton at home, and then most of these hotels have them, and so you can just log in, and that way I can keep my stats up on my Peloton rides. And then I subscribe to way too many things, which is unfortunate because I think I could just do the weightlifting routines in the Peloton app. But some of you, or those of you that are big TSO fans, will remember, of course, Dave Zabludowski. Dave Z from ZO2 was the bass player in the East Coast band, and Dave had an infectious personality. And when we came out to rehearse, as I was mentioning, we all rehearsed together. When we came out to rehearse one year, he brought the DVDs of Insanity Fitness, which is a Beachbody program, and Dave had us all in the lobby of this DoubleTree, like outside. It was too many of us to be in the gym, and we would all be there, like basically doing this 45-minute insane aerobics class every year. And that was one of the great things about Dave, was that he had a great energy, and he could get anybody interested in anything pretty much. So that started, and me and Roddy Chong from the East Coast band, we were still fans of that. And actually, so I still have my Beachbody subscription, and I've been doing Lift 4, which is with 2 eyes because it has a high impact thing. And I highly, that and Sean T's T25, which came later after Insanity, those are both short. This is my tip for you, Michael. Keep it short, but effective. And if you look at that Lift 4 routine, it's like it uses weights, but it's aerobic. And I'm 58, so like the idea is that you have to do some weight training to maintain the muscle mass, but you should keep it aerobic as well, because you're trying to take care of all the cardio pulmonary stuff and everything. So the Lift 4 on Beachbody, the T25 on Beachbody, I really like the Peloton. And yeah, so long as I get up in the morning, I can always make it to the hotel gym and do something. So that's pretty much how I do it. And then there's just the running around on stage. But man, I do the second half of the show with no sleeves, and so like I have to work, it's like the gun show, you know what I'm saying? Does anybody have the number for a good veterinarian? Because these pythons are sick. Okay, I said it. That's all I'll say for right now. Mike went to the Jersey TSO show back in 2010. First hit the Prudential Center. Yeah, man, I wish I could play one of my hometown shows. I'll say that for real. Minneapolis, we love the Minneapolis show. Idaho, love it. Yeah, Idaho Falls, that was great. Venue ability, distance between markets. Nick, I don't know. I'm blissfully ignorant of some of the constraints. I know that there used to be issues with smaller venues where, certain lifts couldn't be operated and stuff like that because it's a big show. But really, they do this amazing job of getting us into the smaller arenas and then being able to fill it out for the larger ones. They're amazing. The crew's amazing. Mr. Jeff Durbin, it's funny. Mr. Jeff Durbin asks if I can show the run at the end of Sarajevo. Is there a way for me to highlight this? I don't know. Well, Jeff, I just did a lesson with a transcription, and it's coming up on my channel. As a matter of fact, it was uploading on this snail's pace Wi-Fi that we have here. In this hotel, I tried to hook up to the Wi-Fi, and it was like barely working. So I went down to the desk and I got the instructions to pay for the enhanced Wi-Fi, and I signed up for it. And then I ran a speed test, and it was like 8 Mbps. And so I just plugged it back into my phone and used my phone. So yeah, Mr. Jeff Durbin, that is coming. So check back for that. What's the hardest song that we still have trouble with on TSO since day one? Just that run at the end of Sarajevo 1224. It's a killer. I talked about it in the last live stream, but I did a whole video with a transcription that's coming. And Jeff from Wisconsin. I may do some more TSO tutorials, but that's really up to the TSO. So we'll find out. Okay. Yes, Dave Z was awesome. Yeah, Michael. Michael, I have like thanks to Johnny Lee Middleton, our bass player, I have like 1 million of those gun show jokes. Did you get your tickets to the gun show? If anybody can put this in the chat before I get to the punchline, has anybody got a Band-Aid? Because I'm cut. Anybody got a needle and thread? Somebody put that answer to it. Has anybody got a needle and thread in there? And keep in mind, I'm not that cut, but I'm trying. Dallas shows always rocked. Oh, man. So Rachel says she enjoyed the Dallas show and that I took a selfie with her daughters. So that's the best thing about running around in the crowd is actually getting folks to take a picture with you. If they can, they're all like filming and then it's like I'm there and they're like, oh, stop filming and the selfie and, try and get it. So it's awkward, to surprise people in that way. I wanted to mention about Anaheim. I was like running through the crowd and I like fist bump this girl and I look up and it's Doug Aldrich's kid. It's like, you're the guitar player for Whitesnake, or, and Dead Daisies, and and Dio, right? It's just like, oh my goodness. So I super appreciated running into Doug at the show. It's the tapping section in Christmas Can and Rock. Okay, Guitar Nate. Okay, so Christmas Can and Rock. People want to see that. People want to see the Mad Russians. I could probably do that one. That one's a great one. The thing in Mad Russians, I don't play it exactly like the record. So on the record, I think this part. Oh, sorry. Don't hold me to that. Anyway, but when Anna Phoebe was in the band, I was showing her we were practicing it. I don't know if we were going to do like some choreography or something like that. And there's a big thing with the TSO that, from Al, and part of what makes the TSO sound the way it does and what brings the heaviness to it is, obviously Paul had this notion of how it should be, but he was aided in the execution on that with John Oliva and Bob Kinkle and Al. And one of Al's main things is that you count in halftime. You're feeling the 2 and the 4, and that it gives you a sense of swing in what's happening, and it gives you a relaxed subdivision that's in some ways separate from a traditional classical approach. So like where you have, the Nutcracker Suite original thing, right, that kind of a thing. But and it's not really true of the rhythm section in that specific song, but it's more like, if you're feeling the 2 and the 4, it relaxes a little bit and it gives you a vibe. And that's kind of like what Al is bringing to the guitar part. And so he does the same thing in like, it's all about, whereas the classical, it's faster and it's like, see what I'm saying? So that's part of what the TSO Grease is about. And so, but I was playing it the way it is on the record, where you're just going. And Anna was like, that's just so lazy. That's not the part. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, that's totally the part. And she was like, no, the violin part is doing this. They're doing this pedal tone thing to a high D. And so that's actually what I play in the show. So, but that's not the recorded version. But I do it because if you listen to the mix on the album, the guitar is not featured until you get like after this whole part, like after that, then the guitar is featured, and that's when Al plays it in the live version. When I'm playing it, it's when the guitar is really just supportive of the strings. So I just thought, after being humiliated by our violin player, I, as a point of personal pride, decided to learn how to play it so that it has those pedal notes in it, so that when I'm the guy playing support to the strings, I'm actually playing it the way the string players are doing it. Personal pride. That's what I bring to the table. So I hope that answers your question. You could learn it from me, but it won't be the way it's played on the record. The way it's played on the record is the rockier version, where it's bop ba da bop ba da bop ba da bop. But I play it with this pedal tone thing because it was, I was forced. I was shamed into doing it that way. Would I ever, Mike? I don't think that would happen. I mean, come on, that band is that band, and our band is our band. I mean, we played the same show, but like the dynamics and what the audience is used to, I think it's just right that we keep everybody kind of, like it's a tradition, right? The folks that, Chris and the gang are just, that's a family, and we're all one big family, but I think it's just cool the way it is, the way it's worked out, And Michael Nielsen, the guitar parts are primarily Al on the first record. I think Caffrey is on all the records, I believe. I'm on a couple of the records, just in a couple of parts. The biggest feature I have is on the song "The Mountain." I play the first solo in there. But yeah, I mean the sound of the TSO was developed around Al Petrelli's playing, And what do we got? This is a massive iPad. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say I've been doing gigs. I've been doing other gigs, and sometimes I think the iPad's the way to go. there have been YouTube videos made about how like guitar players should not use iPads and stuff like that. And yeah, for when I play my Dio tribute, I will not have an iPad on the stage, but I've had to do some other gigs where the iPad was very handy for getting through certain things. Flight of Cassandra and the Mountain is the hardest shredding. Yeah, so the thing I play in the Mountain is the that thing, which that's not actually what it is on the record. The run that's on the record was like a hybridized part. So I played it, but I have since like opted to go with this, which is more what Al played on the demos for the record. And Flight of Cassandra, I don't remember what the solo is on that one because I don't think we've done that one live in a few years. But I've also done the outro solo on the Mountain for live. So that's Al though on the outro solo in the Mountain when we get to the one of those patterns. Yeah, that's very Al. But yeah, I had fun doing it. I think I had to cover that at Wacken when we played Wacken, and then at some point in the last 5 or 6 years, I had to cover that. So, and like I say about one of these gigs that I do, like whether I get to play the solo or I get to, be a part of it while I hear Al playing the solo, it's a good day. It's it's like there's plenty of worse things you could be doing with your time. There's no ego about who gets to take it. You know what I mean? It's just good. It's always a good time. So, what do we got here? Let's get into some proper guitar stuff. Yes, Michael Blas is I mean, when Blas came in, I was just like, it's just such a treat. I mean, and no disrespect to John O'Reilly, who was just the heartbeat of the band. Blas is brought his own thing to it, but still has the swing and the grease, and it's great. So that's an amazing to play with him all the time. And as I said, whenever I have to play this fast tapping part on Christmas Can of Rock, all I do is, come on, Blas, just keep me in the pocket. That's it. Just get me there. What string pick gauge do you use? Is it a big deal? I don't know if it's a big deal. These are Ultex 1 millimeter. I like Ultex because they're stiffer than regular celluloid. So this is probably as stiff as a Fender Heavy celluloid, but it's a little thinner than a Fender Heavy celluloid. But the kind of the difference is that it instead of wearing down, it'll chip. So like it'll last longer unless it gets a chip in it, and then you'll start hearing the chip, and then time to throw the pick. Which I'm bad at throwing picks. So I don't think there are that many Angus picks out there in the world. And also, if I were to give you someone this pick as like a keepsake, you can't use it because the Ultex material won't, the ink won't remain permanent on the Ultex material. And so if you were to use this pick, it would eventually have no print on it whatsoever. So it's not the most collectible pick in the entire world. I mean, by a long shot. So yeah, Ultex though. And I think they started making them in black for James Hetfield. So which is cool. String gauge, these are 10 to 46. I mean, I'm mostly using 10s, but I'll put slightly heavier strings on down-tuned guitars, and I'll put slightly lighter strings on a guitar when I want that sound. Like I have a couple Strats with 9s on them. I have one with 9s on it, 9 to 42. I use D'Addario, so the set of 9s is 9 to 42, and 10 to 46, and then 11 to 49. And I have some hybrid sets like 11 to 52 if I'm going low on a Strat. I think I've done that. But 9 to 42 in E flat on a Strat, and you're like in Yngwie Town, you know. It's like, it's so fun. It's so fun to do that. And then 9s on a Gibson scale guitar, and your Schenker, get your Schenker on. That's so I kind of move around with that stuff. But for the TSO gig, it's all 10s. And even the E-flat guitar has 10s on it because it's just more fun. What's up, Shelby? I wore a Bears jersey on stage in Milwaukee. I don't remember ever wearing a sports jersey on stage anywhere. That'd be disrespect to the tuxedo. Guitar Nate Dogg. Are the guys playing any one album, or is it selections from all? This year's show is Ghosts of Christmas Eve, which is based on the TV special, so it's kind of a best of, really. At the end of the day, it's like a best of. It's a really fun show. We have a great time with it. Interesting. Yeah, Metalhead Bill. I think it's fun when audiences that see one band get to see the other. You know, as I said, it's the same show. We're all honoring the material, and I love everything that my East Coast brethren do with the show. The dynamics are a little different, which the audience can attest to. But it's the same show, it's the same spirit always, and the same quality, of course. So yeah, it's fun when folks get to see the other show. Yes, this is the first time we're playing these two vocal tunes. The first time for me playing these two vocal tunes from Beethoven's Last Night. If you're not familiar with the Beethoven's Last Night record, that's a non-holiday record that was made, what year? Before I joined. I think it was already out when I joined in 2001. So it probably came out in 99 or 2000. But great record, like, because, that record has the has the Requiem on it, Beethoven's Fifth Requiem. It's got the Last Illusion, which is the Flight of the Bumblebee. And it's just chock full of good stuff, and those ballads are really great. So getting to play it, and Chloe with the drones, and Daniel Emmett, Daniel Emmett is just one of the best singers I've ever. So precise, skilled, and the tone, just amazing. It's amazing to work with Chloe and Daniel and the whole team. It's amazing. We would play some cover tunes. Proud Mary. 2000, yeah, Beethoven came out 2000. So we used to interpolate some cover tunes here and there. This year in the tribute piece to Paul, which is Sleep, there's like one verse of Changes by Black Sabbath, which Rosa is singing, and it's awesome. I love that. Volume 4, Sabbath Volume 4, that was a big record for me. First solo I ever learned was Tomorrow's Dream. stop there. Warner Brothers, get after me. Yeah. Blas does hide sticks in the arena. You folks should follow Blas's social media to figure out where he's left the sticks so that you can find one. Yes. And yes, Fran mentions my time with Mark Martel. Mark is just, that guy is an amazing. I've been truly blessed with getting to work with some of these most amazing singers. Jeff Scott Soto, Joe Lynn Turner, Jimmy Coons Clark Band. Oh, if you haven't purchased a Coons Clark Band album or t-shirt, please go to the Deco site. I'll put the link in the description here for that. But if you want to support what I do, the best thing to do is, go to iTunes. I have 2 albums under my name. One's called Your Last Battlefield. The other one is called Grace Period. That's a vocal record. And I have an album that I put out last year with Jimmy Coons called the Coons Clark Band, and you can get physical copies and or t-shirts, etc. Through Deco Entertainment, DEKO Entertainment. And then if you're interested in learning guitar, go to angusclarkgtr.com, where I have 30 surefire rock licks. And I'll probably be putting up a purchase pathway for private lessons on that teaching site so that folks can, we can do that. I can do coaching one-on-one lessons as well. But yeah, if you're enjoying, anything about my approach to guitar and can benefit from my experience in any way, 30 surefire rock licks, angusclarkgtr.com. If you just want to support what I do, I have merch through a Teespring store called Got Licks, like Got Milk, but Got Licks, for anybody that remembers that. And then, yeah, just listen to my records, buy my records, sure, because I think you should get something for your money. What else have we got here? Al is playing what's it called? A Dan Armstrong? A Dan Armstrong, which is made out of lucite, I believe. Which I think on the inside cover of Black Sabbath Volume 4, Geezer is playing a Dan Armstrong bass, a lucite bass. I know that Geezer used to have one. Hold on, we've got how are the 3 runs in Oh Holy Night done? I played that for my audition, and I don't think I've played it since, but I can go look it up. Do I run stock pickups? Jeffrey, this guitar is swapped out. These are Pariah pickups with black covers on them. I don't know if you folks can actually see that, but these pickups are covered. When you see black pickups in a Les Paul, you usually think that they're not covered, but these are covered because I don't want to hook a string on a bobbin, which has happened to me, and I don't ever want it to happen again. So I'm trying to think. My 2 Flying V's both have Seymour Duncan pickups in them, and I use a lot of Seymour Duncan pickups. I endorse Seymour Duncan, I endorse Pariah. I'm a big fan of that. So I have Duncan distortions in the main Flying V, but then I have the Iommi guitar has Fralin noiseless P90s in it. Because you just want noiseless for the TSO stage. The Strat that I've been playing on Promises to Keep has Kinman noiseless pickups in it. And, my favorite Strat, my 62 reissue, has David Allen pickups in it. David Allen Echoes set. It's a Gilmore type set in it. So I get around, you know what I'm saying? I have Lawlers in my other Strat, the original Lawlers in my black Strat that I did the Another Brick in the Wall playthrough on. Those are such great pickups. I mean, all these people are making great stuff, and pickups are such an easy upgrade. It's like it's unless you're talking about Ron Ellis pickups, which I hear are worth it. I'm not going to say they're not worth it, but it's like such an easy upgrade. All right, folks, I think I'm gonna have to wrap it up. Yes, Rachel, I would gladly teach acoustic guitar. Yes, Michael, the singers, it's crazy. Yeah, it's nuts. And yeah, it's great to see Jeff. And Jeff is singing better than ever. It's awesome. So, D-Man, yeah, you should just, you should fly to New York City area and go see them at the Prudential Center in New Jersey or something. Make a weekend of it. That'd be fun. But I think I've answered some good questions. I played a little guitar. What did we do? We looked at... What's the rest of that run? It's one of those. It's like, that's like an owl thing is doing a 6-note pattern in octaves. So it's a... That's the same thing in like 2 octaves. It's like he does that on that part there. When I do that, I use the open string to mask the position shift. But Al just plays it. Probably here. All right. Yeah, little boughs of holly for you. And yeah, what's up, Mike? All right. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone. I'm so glad people showed up, and I'll gladly do this again next week. And we can talk some more. Again, I'm using Pariah pickups right here. I'm using S-Gear for the sound. I got the X5 in-ears. I got the Rode. I got a lot of gear in this hotel room. But I really appreciate you folks coming here and checking this out. Again, if you want to support what I do, please go to the Deco Entertainment site, DEKO Entertainment, and get yourself a copy of the Angus Clark Band album, KUNES CLARK Band. Our record is awesome. Van Romain on drums, Winston Roy on bass. If you live in Maryland or Pennsylvania or anywhere in the DC area, come on down to see Dio Rules next February. We are going to be playing the music of Rainbow, Black Sabbath, and Dio, and we are going to crush it with Andrew Freeman on vocals. And what else can I tell you? Oh yeah, I'll put the link in the description on the replay of this, but you can get Got Licks merch. You can go to angusclarkgtr.com and get a hold of my 30 Surefire Rock Licks course. And coming up soon, I was just uploading it on this miserably slow Wi-Fi in this hotel, a lick lesson on the run at the end of Sarajevo 1224. So be on the lookout for that. And super appreciate you all. Super appreciate all of the TSO folks coming by to check it out, whether you're into guitar stuff or not. It's awesome to see folks here. And we are having a great time on tour, and the shows are going great. And if you want to come check it out, there are still tickets available, so please do come. And we will look forward to rocking your face off. You're going to need a new face when we're done. So that's it. I've been Angus. You've been awesome. Take care and be well. Sayonara.